Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and let's get back to Nah, I almost said Lego Star Wars, Lego The Lord of the Rings. Let's continue. So, obviously, I had to exit out again, if you didn't know. That's why we're in a different spot from where we ended last time. And by different spot, I mean literally one loading screen difference. Uh, so you didn't miss anything. But I did learn something that was rather interesting. The intro scene, the first thing you see before you even press start, before it should even load a save file, technically, because those scenes are supposed to be like that very first screen in any video game is supposed to work regardless. If the servers are down, if there's no save file, if nothing else is happening. So I can't go any further this way. The gaze of Sauron, who is very close, is upon this area. Uh, but the intro section changed, and now it has Sauron looking at you versus just a map of Middle Earth. So that's a little strange, and it's kind of cool, but it kind of a waste too, because you're never gonna actually. Lots of people are never gonna even see that. I'm gonna hop off this horse and come over to this map. These maps are telling me where collectibles are for the free play area. There's it looks like there's some characters we can unlock in this area too. There's gonna be probably a slight change once we finish the story modes. The story levels are taking about 30 minutes to do one story level, so 30-minute recordings. I think what we'll end up doing is doing an hour. Now, if I do that, that's some recording issues for YouTube, because what could happen is I've been planning on releasing, as I have in previous series, 2 episodes a day. If I release 2 episodes a day and then the next episode is an hour long, there may be one day where there's an hour and 30 minutes of footage. Not a big deal. But I can't imagine myself doing the free play mode for just 30 minutes. We're back to this point. It's almost like the stories are repeating itself. Now it's not the one ring that the Hobbit's trying to steal. It's Pippin is trying to steal this orb.
Are you mad? I just want to look at it.
I see you.
Pippin! Help! Gandalf!
Fool of a took!
He likes to call everybody a fool.
What did you see?
There was a white tree in a courtyard of stone. It was dead.
What does that mean?
Sauron moves to strike the city of Minas Tirith.
They must be warned.
They will be. I ride for Minas Tirith. I won't be going alone. Rohan must be ready for war.
And Rohan will answer. Muster the Rohirrim. Assemble the army at Dunharrow. As many men as can be found. We ride for Gondor. And war.
Run, Shadowfax. Show us the meaning of haste.
Mary!
Is Mary's a girl, right? I mean, no, a guy. Totally, has to be. What? We're right back where we started. And we still can't go forward here. So I need to move again with these two. Like, Merry's a guy, though. I think all these hobbits are guys. Unless I'm totally wrong. Also, since I have seen 2 instances of the wizard calling somebody a fool, I desperately want to see a picture of Gandalf / Mr. T saying, "I pity the fool." I bet that's on the internet already, but I'd have to do some research. So, as someone who hasn't watched the movies, and as someone who hasn't read the books, I am rather off-put and uninterested in the side quest here of this preparing for war story. Because the story up to this point has been so centered around Frodo. Oops. That it just would be very difficult for any story to grab my attention and make me want to focus on what's going on in the other places. If it was a side story after the other book, or in my case, if it was a extra levels after I'd done the main story level, I would potentially be able to shift my attention after I've had a full and satisfying resolution of the main story. But going back and forth feels just like they're stalling for
6,000
time.
spears. Less than half of what I'd hoped for.
6,000 will not be enough to break the lines of Mordor.
A ghost?
I take my leave.
My Lord Elrond, you're outnumbered, Aragorn. You need more men. There are none. There are those who dwell in the mountain. They answer to no one. They will answer to the King of Gondor. Andúril, the flame of the west, forged from the shards of Narsil. The sword can summon to him an army more deadly than any that walks this earth. Put aside the Ranger. Become who you are born to be.
What kind of army would linger in such a place?
One that is cursed. Long ago, the men of the mountain swore an oath to the last king of Gondor to come to his aid, to fight. But when the time came, when Gondor's need was dire, they fled, vanishing into the darkness of the mountain. And so Isildur cursed them, never to rest, until they had fulfilled their pledge. The way is shut. It was made by those who are dead.
So this sword, I think, is made from the pieces of the sword we had at the very beginning in the prologue, because it can break the
What do you see?
I see shapes of men and of
black
horses.
bricks with the red lines.
Pale banners like shreds of flame. Spears rise like winter thickets through a shroud of mist.
So now when I'm in free play mode, I can probably play as this guy and have his sword and be able to reach more areas. It's strange that they focus so much on objects. It indicates to me that possibly, and this is a small possibility, that J.R. Tolkien might have had been less of a people person, possibly to the point of saying he might have some form of like autism or something like that. Of course, I'm not a doctor and I can't diagnose people other than my own armchair diagnosis. I've gotten stuck in the mist somehow. I guess I should keep moving.
The dead are following. They have been summoned.
The dead? Summoned? I knew that.
More focused on items than people, although that's a hard argument to really make because he is also very focused on people too. I think it'd probably be a better thought to think he's just focused on adding a lot of details that aren't necessary, which might just be some basic over explaining in his authorship. Too much world building, which is a hard claim to make, that there would ever be too much world building, because people that I bet love the Lord of the Rings probably love it for its details, whether they were actually necessary to tell a story. I personally am more of a fan of short and sweet and to the point. To an extent. You can certainly go too short and not explain things, and then have me just in a situation where I'm confused, which happens more often than it should. Do I want to work my way up here, or do I want to look over here? Because we've got this other section. It all does feel very much like Dungeons and Dragons, this story, but I think there's a reason for that, in that Dungeons and Dragons heavily borrows from these stories, and I think it would be probably accurate to say that that even J.R. Tolkien took a lot of these characters from classic fairy tales and myths. Elves certainly have been talked about, I think, for a long, long time. Before then, dwarves. So the general concept's dragons. Trents might be original, but I bet they aren't either. Alright, so I need this guy. Come over here and break this. Now I can come through. This level feels shockingly similar to the spider level. It's simply looks like the dwarf is afraid of the ghosts and won't fight them. It's just a hallway. It's undeniable at this point that this game is missing content. It is missing a ton of content. Just throughout the whole game, feels like they were short half of a team. Like maybe they had 50 workers on this project when they needed 100. Maybe they had 100 when they needed 150. I don't know what the magic number is, and of course, quality also counts. 50 brand new workers who've never programmed a video game before are not going to be as useful as 50 seasoned video game Lego game makers who have made several others. But with all this cutscene to cutscene to cutscene, not even doing a decent job at convincing me to play around in the open world area enough so I don't recognize that the main stories are just cutscenes in short runs of actual levels. I haven't had to ever really go out of my way to avoid doing the open world stuff. We are always loaded in right near where we need to be or where we need to be for the next level, so we have to switch to the other group of characters, which the number of groups is kinda high at 3 or 4 sometimes. It's rather amazing to me too. I have like no knowledge of this section at all. If you had asked me yesterday in the Lord of the Rings series, do they find ghost humans that fight with them, or do they try to get ghosts to fight with them? I would have said no. I would have said absolutely not. I would have heard of that. It has to. That would have had to have been absorbed into my just general knowledge as someone who follows some geek stuff, and I would be wrong. Well, I don't think anybody can set a fire there. I don't think anybody can actually cross that section either. Here, get that collectible. Go this way. Here we have a wall that only Golem can climb. So, is there like no trick here? What is the trick here? Maybe I throw him? Maybe that's what I do. Maybe I throw the dwarf. You go here. And then this seems to tell me to hit Y. Okay, so now I pick him up, and what I have to throw him to the other guy. Well, that was super weird. They really gave me no direction for that. Seemed like it would make a lot more sense if they had just put a item or something. Am I supposed to hit this chain? Oh no, this is a submerged spinning dial. And you don't even push it, you tap B. Which isn't even the way these things have ever worked in any other Lego game at all. Weird.
Who enters my domain?
Now, remember there was like no fighting.
One who will
really
have
there
your
at all.
allegiance.
Well, there was a little random bad guys that popped up, but that was a tiny section of the level.
Way is shut. Now you must die.
So switch to this guy, but I guess these guys aren't even going to attack me on the outside. It's going to be these guys. Of course, that's not the battle we're supposed to be doing right now. This is a puzzle. We're going to save it to need to switch to clear the way, pop this, and start breaking things so we can build something. Kind of standard Lego thing. What are we gonna build? I don't know. I'm supposed to do something with this platform? Like, can Legolas now hit that over there? Okay. That's just like a flexible. Go ahead and I guess get that flexible. Okay, so I was just waiting for it to fly around. The camera zoom is way too low for that. So now we're gonna build something different. Probably another platform. I'm not seeing a life bar on this place, which is kind of an oxymoron. I suppose he doesn't have a life bar, but we're also getting no indication here of how many times we have to do this or when we're going to be done. This one feels like it's going to be 4 separate platforms. So I'm going to have to jump around or just wait till the guy decides to stop bothering me. So I've hit him all 4 times. He's gonna break all 4 of them, so I'm just gonna come over here. Just go ahead and prepare.
None but the King of Gondor may command me.
I am there. Wait, and I will release you from this living death!
Does he have the ability to know how to do that? So maybe this whole thing was a fool's errand and they don't fight for it. That's not terrible writing for a story. I mean, you always want to have your hero fail on some of the early, smaller attempts so they can then rise from those failures. You don't want to always see him succeed. That's boring. No, he succeeded. Never mind. Apparently he got some kind of pirates to fight for him too. Or pirates just showed up from some other area. So you can tell by the number of unlocks that we're getting near the end here. If my calculations are right, there should be about 3 more levels, and then we can do free play mode. While we're 750,000, we may be over 1 million if we get really lucky. We got several collectibles, which that's somewhat helpful. There's different ways I could certainly do the collectibles. If I was trying to do a straight walkthrough series instead of a criticism series, I would make extreme care not to get any of the collectibles until we have played the story all the way through and then can get all 10 of them, or every single bit of every collectible in one free play run. But that's not what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show my honest experience first time in this case, since this is the first time I've played this game, and give my honest criticism. Anywho, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.